absent. Kelsey is here. Megan is here. Alan Harkins is absent. Judea is here. Kate Holland is here. Paul Arthur is marked absent. Sally Bailey. Callie. Plus 5, which next item on the agenda is public comments. In this section of the public comments, if you have anything to say, please limit those comments to 3 minutes or less, and this is the part on agenda items only. Okay? All right, moving on. Approval of the minutes.
I will make a motion to approve.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, item number 2, new business mural program. Mr. Cutchaw.
Thank you, sir.
Probably
Thank you
should
guys
turn
for
my
being
mic
here.
on.
Oh, yeah, mine's
After
on.
you- After you said so.
Yes, mine's working really well, so I guess everybody can hear me. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it a lot. This is really our 3rd meeting. It's a little more traditional this time, so we've got the structure kind of based out there so we get used to that and move forward. And very excited about some of the things that I'm going to talk with you guys about today and get your input on. The first thing is going to be the Mural Program. I know Chelsea Reynolds and a couple of you are already kind of in the know with that. Art is a huge reason why people love this area and support it. We got a lot of local artists throughout the entire county, and so we want to highlight that. You know, people love to come and take photographs. They love to stand in front of walls, have those Instagrammable moments. You know, tag all their friends in it, make them jealous that they're not there, so they'll come and see us and visit us and make a trip. So soon I'll be emailing you folks out kind of our public art plan. So our team has put together an amazing plan, working along with the other parts of the county, you know, including the art program, and they've already got a mission, vision, responsibilities of the program, what we're looking for. So things to keep in mind and things that this committee could really help us with is locations. It's something that we want to do. We want to kind of start it together, you know, so we'd love to start on multiple projects at the same time. We've got a lot of pieces down that the county owns, like Edwaleen Beach Access, got a huge roll-up door there. It needs to be repainted anyway, so that's perfect. Everybody walking onto that beach access, you know, has the opportunity to look over and see it, go over, take a photograph, you know, tag the location. But what we're looking at is other areas. So we'd love to see some spots in Freeport, Paxton, Defuniak Springs, or, you know, places to get a lot of foot traffic. You know, visibility, something's going to draw folks in. So as you guys talk to folks and put your fillers out there, please reach out to us, let us know. We'll go meet with them, talk with them, build a plan with them, and move forward with it. This is something we'd love to start sooner rather than later, because of course it's going to take us some time to put it all together. But this is a draft format, or I'd send it into everybody, but I can pass it around and let you guys take a peek at it, those that want to. And like, here's this garage door. That's the one that we were talking about first, you know, kind of focus. It's going to be the low-hanging fruit. So, but we've got that coming up. So we do want to take, like, if you've been to Pensacola and seen the one they've got downtown, they've got like a old school looking postcard rendering. So we already have one that we produce. It's a postcard. So we've got a lot of templates on that. So that type of thing moving forward. So it's a big initiative. We've had a lot of positivity from it so far that we've shared with folks. So we wanted to ask you folks to help out with us and put your thinking caps on, talk to people, and if you got any good ideas location-wise, just let us know. Any questions on that, on the Mural Program? I'll be sending out, once this is no longer a draft, I'll send it out to you guys, and you'll have the detailed information from it.
So just email you if we talk to somebody or come across a location that we think might be great for something
Yes,
like that?
absolutely. Just email me. You can email me. You can email Kelly or Courtney, but you can just email it directly to me, and I'll forward it on to them, and then we'll make a plan to meet with those folks, reach out to them. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. It can be private property. The biggest thing is just, you know, the willingness to understand that it's going to be there for a minute. you know, and, but I'm hoping that we have some people that jump on board with it, because it definitely is a trend that we're seeing across, you know, many destinations throughout the world. And
Look cool. I
they
know
do
I
look
always
cool.
stop and take pictures when we see them when we're out traveling around.
oh yeah,
As you get more into bike traffic and things like that, you're gonna see people, you know, more and more stop, I would think.
exactly. It changes it when you get on your foot or walking. You can really pick out some details.
I know with Christmas Reflections, they put some large ornaments up this last time for the main purpose of letting people take pictures of them and tagging them. And that seemed to work out well. Yeah, because that's, you know, back when Jay was there, they got these really huge ornaments, and that was their whole purpose, was you could get pictures of them.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's really that user-generated content, you know, the organic stuff is what really sticks the most with people. It's the things that they share the most, and they see their friends there, or they follow that person who actually has 1 million followers, but, you know, they think they got that personal connection there with that person, and so it really resonates with them.
We did something similar to that, the sheriff's department, the art in the park. And the health department, sheriff, were working on doing art like that, driftwood park. And, Debbie Chip had already looked at doing all the art. So, they looked at downtown Virginia, maybe the backside of the amphitheater or something. They've been throwing around a bunch of different ideas, but they just did a park assessment. Somebody from a college come in and park assessment of the Walton park.
Yeah.
And what needed to be in them and stuff like that. So they're looking at, they were looking at like I said, which park murals could go in. So they're already doing something similar with like park. So that might be
Great.
something that could be maybe tied in somehow,
Yeah.
because the one that at Driftwood ended up really cool. 8 murals, and the kids got involved. Partly.
Absolutely, it might be a partnership connection, especially if they've already got some areas dedicated.
Was heading up the art in the park, and then Debbie Chip health department. We all.
Jason, I think it was Mark Wendell from the sheriff's office who was spearheading the sheriff's department involvement on the Driftwood Park.
Okay, perfect.
They already spoke about doing other parks. They're looking at, they would like that. And I know the Debbie Chip spoke about commission too about the park project.
Okay.
So I know there's already spoken on that.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if CAA is involved in that as well, I wonder. That's where you guys
some
get.
of that is also something. So, that's also,
Well, thank you. Thank you for that. The next thing, new taxing district update, unless you guys got some more questions about the mural program. No. All right.
Ready for number 3?
Wonderful. All right, with North Walton, of course, we started that collection, you know, that referendum was voted in during the last cycle. So again, we have one district, 2 different referendums. So we have 2 different ordinances right now, plans that we're working with. And in April of that month, the very first month of collection, we collected $23,822 or $23. In May, it went up to $32,522, and in June, it was $40,505. So almost doubled it. So we have a total at $96,850. And the good part is we still have 3 months to go. Those are strong months too. July, especially July, will be a strong month. So good numbers, especially for the first year as everything gets back on track. I'm making a plan in the not so distant future to go around and meet with all of everything from the campgrounds to the bed tax collectors at the hotels throughout the entire new taxing district. So that's kind of on my plan according to whether or not this requires surgery in the not so distant future. So I'm excited about that. So then we can have, maybe by then it'll be kind of near the end of the year, we can talk a little bit about that and see if they have anything they need from us or they have any ideas, inputs. And kind of at that time, once we get to October 1, that will free up that funding for us to be able to look at. And so on that item, I've created a budget that has very soft funding in that budget so that when we collectively know what we've collected in, I've went off of forecasting prediction of 150,000, but it may be more than that. I kind of assume with the numbers looking like they were in June, it probably will be. So then we can sit back, make a game plan, and figure out exactly how we're going to budget that and what we're going to do, efforts coming forward to this next year. But it's tracking really well, and the numbers are looking really good. And we usually get that, how that's collected too, just so you know, the reporting history of it is the month of June, say for the month of June, it'll be collected in the month of July, and then I'll receive a report at the beginning of August, and so then I can release that information out. So it's always collected the next month following after.
Jason?
Yes, sir.
My understanding is now, because this is a new district, that money has to be collected for a year before expenditures occur?
Our fiscal year begins October 1st, so that's the forecasted measure is they want to collect for, that fiscal year and then spend. So since we start in April, we'll actually be able to possibly utilize that funding from April until August, or April till September. So that would allow us to be able to utilize those funds in FY22, which would start October 1st.
Okay.
So, which would be great. That'll at least, it won't be as much as an entire year of collection, but it would help us to get some things started or some initiatives that we'd want to do and provide us a budget to be able to do so.
All right.
Jason, you said you had forecast that we would collect 150,000.
Yes, I do. I think April and May, that's what I had to go off of kind of statistically on. I had to look at, basically a matrix, and thank goodness for the GIS department to be able to go in and zero in on every one of the bed tax collectors throughout the, new taxing district. And then I had to go into star reporting for all the hotels and figure out what they have done on average over the past 2-3 years, and then look at the campgrounds and see what their average daily rate is, kind of how they book out through the year and what their occupancy is. And then, so zeroed in roughly around $300,000 for an entire calendar year. So we just kind of split that in half from April until September, even though it's a smaller month window. Those are really heavy, strong months. So.
All right, any
Okay.
questions? If that's done, then we're to committee updates. So do we have any committee updates?
If you guys have any questions or you guys have any updates in your world that you want to share with us or any initiatives that you got going forward, if not, then we'll move into the director updates. So each one of my directors will come up and give you an update after that.
Okay, I've got one question. And has the TDC ever looked at or done any sort of marketing study? We've got 331 and 83 that come to South Walton. Most of the traffic, it looks to me like on 81 is going over to Bay County from my personal experience. So when these people are coming down there, do we ever look at or have done any study to try to determine where they're going? Are they crossing into Florida and they don't ever stop till they get to South Walton? Are they any retail establishments they may be frequenting or looking at in Paxton, Defiant Springs, or Freeport? Certain food establishments,
Yeah.
more like hey, what do y'all want to get you to stop since you're already come down here? And I understand our market is to try to get them, once they're in South Walton, to come back. But someone had asked me that question, and I told them I'd propose it to you to see if that'd ever been looked at.
It's a really good idea to broaden the expansion of travel as it comes in. A lot of times what we end up focusing in on is like vehicular traffic versus, flight. And so who's flying here, who's flying here and who's driving here. So the last time we got real granular with the study to find out the amount of foot traffic was over in actually, what's that center that shut down from Visit Florida? It's coming into Bay County. What's that road? It's not 79, it's
The one on 231.
231. So the last time we got real, thank you, granular into that was a holistic study that we did with multiple different DMOs throughout the region to try to go in and justify supporting that visitor center. So we looked at the traffic coming in on that. So we found that, you know, the largest percentage of people coming in on that route are going to Bay County. And we just kind of divided it up amongst the counties, you know, that way off their visitor tracking study that they had of folks that were actually came inside the visitor center itself. So that might be something that we can look at doing. We can talk to our research firm. They've got a lot of good data. I'm actually getting ready to release some information on usability throughout the entire county. You know, we're talking from Alabama to the Gulf, like all the government entities, all the roads, infrastructure, and so forth. So that might be something we can do and approach it like we did with that visitor center to be able to get some more information on traffic, especially coming in, like you said, 331, 81,
Well,
where everybody's headed.
Yeah, the 331 and 83 are going to be
83.
those huge feeders. And my thought was if we knew either what they wanted or where they were going, then that could be used by the municipalities to help build businesses that would meet those needs and generate that coming down traffic. Because right now I'm not really understanding, you know, when people, what do they do when they get there early? Because I'm going to tell you what, the lines at McDonald's start at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, they do.
It's, I
yeah.
can't even get a McMuffin during the season. It's driving me crazy.
You're right. The more, you know, and there's been a lot of studies throughout in other areas, you know, the more introduction that guests have to what there is to do in the area, the more likely they are to stay longer and spend more money. And that's just a fact. Every time they do a study, you know, state of Oregon did a big study on that not too long ago for that very reason, and that's what they found out. And that's one of the things we had discussed about having like little events on Saturday. That's the biggest turnover day. That's a big check-in day. So we were like, what if we had either a series of things for people to do as they arrive in the area, such like they have something in Defuniak, we have something else in Freeport, and then we have something else like at our visitor center. So as they make their way down, they can actually spend their day or the beginning of the day throughout different areas, you know, so they can kind of learn more what there is to do there, learn more about the places to visit. So that might be something that we look at in the future as well. Once, you know, I think this study would be a good idea if it's something we can, you know, I'm sure it's something that we can tap into our research firm with, and they had to have done the study, you know, before. I've been trying to look at some heat mapping with cell phones to figure out like who's coming to the area and, you know, how long they spending in the area and where they're coming from. So maybe that combination could build.
I know, now, just my personal opinion, when they do that farmer's market at How's Head right on 331, that thing is, I just can't imagine that thing not blowing up and becoming super popular as people are coming down. Because like you said, it's you know, they're looking for something to do to kill that hour or 2 hours because they don't want to beat check-in.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be,
And we're in the process of building that right now. So we'll just add that question to it.
Yeah,
Maybe
no,
we can
that-
pull some data from that.
that'd be great. I'm just trying to think of, you know, anything to kind of slow that down. Yeah.
So we could look at it that way.
Yeah, thanks.
That's great. I know. Come on in.
That's all. Mr. Henderson,
Mr. Sir.
come join us. And for taking minutes or whatever, Reynolds Henderson is now present.
Excellent. Reynolds, thank you for being here, sir. Sorry if you.
My apologies. I just saw report, and for some reason, I thought it was a city.
Oh, well, that's all I had.
Okay, sir.
As far as committee that I wanted to ask. Has anybody got anything else? If not, we'll move on to director update. Seeing nothing.
Thanks, sir.
Come on, whoever's first, come on down.
Good afternoon. I'm Karen Morris, Director of Sales. So just a quick update and refresher for you guys about the sales department. Our department consists of 3 people, so we have 2 sales managers and then me. Our focus is on generating new group business for the destination. So we focus on corporate groups, association meetings, incentive groups, weddings, social groups like golf groups and reunions, things like that. So our plan moving forward is to include venues and activities north of the Bay as we're promoting to these meeting planners. And we, of course, want to, continually build on that list so that we have even more options as we proceed. In addition to promoting kind of the beyond the beach activities and venues to the groups that are already coming to South Walton, we're also brainstorming ideas to attract groups that can actually stay in North Walton, specifically in that area. So some of the things that we thought about are tour and travel groups, motor coach groups. These groups typically enjoy historic destinations and also attractions as well. And a lot of times they choose destinations that are right on the interstate for the easy on and easy off access. So those are some things that we have been talking about and would love input from you guys. Any ideas that you have, any suggestions? Would love to hear that and would definitely appreciate it. So you guys reach out to me or anybody on the sales team. We'd love to hear from you about that.
Great. No, I used to have a client that drove tour buses, and one of the things we did, he explained to me, I helped him do the maps because he couldn't work a computer, so I helped figure out the routes. But he was always looking for places where people could get off the bus, stretch their legs, do some shopping, eat, and get back on. Before they opened the Main Street Gym, I always thought that'd be a good parking lot, but now that place stays full. So.
That's true. That market does look for that. And also something that they could do is, let's say they're on their way to New Orleans for a destination trip. They may stop over one night and enjoy, things in Funiac Springs and, some of the historic attractions, that kind of thing, just for one night. But, that way they're staying the night and participating in some of the activities there too, so.
I don't know if ghost hunters are on your list, but
No,
recently,
they're not.
with Miss Patty Blake and Lisa, we visited Hotel de Funiac, which has 12 suites and is said to be haunted. So
I've heard that.
Chef Ernie has shared some stories and has also gotten some visitors that are in that sort of paranormal mindset. And yes, so it could be some. Obviously, the hotel can't accommodate a large group, but it's certainly a niche.
It could be an
people.
attraction.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. A reason to stop. I love that. I'll look into it. Thank you.
I know there's a gentleman too that's working on expanding on the hotel's haunts and looking for all types of different places throughout the county that are said to have ghost stories
Oh,
and
neat.
putting that all together.
Like
So-
St. Augustine. That's a really
Yes.
popular
Yes.
tour in St. Augustine.
Yep.
Great. Thank you, Chelsea. I appreciate
ma'am.
that. What was that again?
There are a lot of stories like that, especially you can hear those in town. A lot of people
I love it. Thank you.
I think even some of the patty associations for dive groups to get them to the springs to see something beyond just a little different and having them stay in the north end of the county would be a good fit.
Great. Thanks, Megan.
And also, the Phoenix Springs event, they had asked for anybody that, if there was groups coming through, they might hold activities too. I know they do like snowbird days sometimes, and they, around Lake Fest, they do the kayaking tours and stuff up there, like night tours and things like that. So I think they may be interested in Northern City, if there's a group coming through, they may be able to plan something that they can event that works.
Okay, good. That might be a good partner.
For something, if there is something like that coming through, sometimes they're like, oh, we can plan something, or, organize it like building, something like that, or set up some kind of a tour thing, or, I know they were doing biking tours, they did the water tour, the night, so they do different stuff, and they know different people that,
Okay, good. That's great. I'll reach out to them then.
so that might be good to reach out to them, and find out, if there is a group or something like that.
Okay, good. And that is, goes along with groups that are already coming to the destination anyway, and they may want to just have like a day trip or, groups are constantly asking for off-site activities or day trips, that kind of thing. So that's something that we're definitely including, continue to include.
Maybe at some point we can get some murals in some of these different cities. Peniac, Freeport, Paxton, you could do a little tour of murals. That would be a nice.
Yeah, that would be.
Yeah,
And we were
we
just talking about the murals
Talked
too, so.
about that before you got here.
Well, glad. Glad, so good.
You're doing, you're doing, yeah, you're doing great.
We're all on the right page.
On the right thought process.
But it's a great activity for tours too, so.
It is, and what they were talking about was setting up, like Instagram and photo locations at them, so you could actually do, I guess it's Jackson County that's done like a historic, Civil War tour that you drive to the different locations. So you could probably do something like that also.
And also, like the Florida Chicago holds those like 3-day events. A lot of the people involved in those events are always willing to do things, because they have like the tea parties, the interactive, like dress up, tell stories. They do also tell some of the ghost stories. They have a lot of, they go like the old post office and they go to the store, so there's a lot, they know a lot of people that do that kind of too, so if you're seeing something or somehow get involved with something,
Great, good, thank you. I appreciate all the input.
All
You
right.
guys have any other questions for me?
questions?
Thank you, Ms. Carey.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thank you, thank you.
Only one more question. We don't have a budget for this yet until we start collecting money. How's this gonna work for her, like?
We'll let Jason
Yes.
touch on that again real quick.
We started collecting, of course, in April. We're at about $96,000 right now. That's the month of April, May, and June. So fantastic. We'll probably see, I had budgeted or tried to forecast, off of those short months from April to September of $150,000 roughly. Initially, for an entire year, we're looking at $300 to $350, but the numbers are really well. That shows the average daily rate is creeping up there, throughout the new taxing district. So for the next, and this is part of my director updates and stuff, for the next meeting that we have, we'll be doing a little bit of budget planning. I've already budgeted $150,000 for next year out of the new taxing district. A lot of those initiatives are either divided up very equally between marketing, and improvements. And so we'll work together with the committee to go through some low-hanging fruits, some things that we can do right away quickly. You already know about the Mural Program. So we've built, the team has built a really good scope for that. We're just looking for the pieces, to be able to put together for the future. But that'll be, relatively soon, but definitely within the next meeting, we'll be talking about that. So that's a good part. October 1, that money comes available so that we can utilize it.
Another question would be, you had the grants program. Is that kind of, we dissolved of the grants program for the North End? Is that going to continue? Is that something that we can piggyback into what we're working on so it'll have more of an effect?
Absolutely. Kelly, actually the next director that's coming up, she's going to have a update on that. So Kelly, just to let everybody know, Kelly is the new director of marketing. She's been with us for like 15 years now-ish. So she's been around for a minute. She's young. She's barely in her 20s. Matt, is there, she started young. Matt is our new director of communications. So before that position was one director position, I split that apart to have two, so that could be a big focus, especially as we expand, to be the entire county. So that way they can pinpoint focus on both communications and marketing. But Matt is our content manager for about the last 4.5 years, so he's promoted up to that. So they'll have updates for you, and I know Kelly's going to touch on the events program as well. Yes, sir.
All right, who's next? Don't all y'all jump up there at once. We can't leave till you're all done, so.
Good afternoon, guys. As Jason said, Matt Algren, Director of Communications. Thank you for the opportunity, first and foremost, to be here. So just a kind of a brief overview of our department. So we're basically, if you want to think about it, the storytellers. We're here to tell our story and make sure that, when people think about where they want to go visit, where they want to travel, Walton County and our destination stays at the forefront of their minds. So, as we kind of look forward as to ways where we want to rely on you all. You all are the experts. You live, breathe, and know these communities like the back of your hand. So, we really want to rely on you to take your input to, see what the stories are, what stories we can tell, what are the hidden gems, what areas can we focus on. So, kind of in front of you, you see a couple of the print products we do. The Stay Guide, that's kind of our accommodations guide. So that's something we're currently working on now. And when we redo this, all of the North Walton accommodations will be included in that guide. So, I feel like that's a great first step to, building that cohesion there. So kind of what we're looking at for that is to send that out to the printers by mid-November. We will ask for, all of our partners to provide information and updates by September 10th. So I was going to take an opportunity. This is Lisa Foster sitting back here to your guys' left. She's kind of the point person and the liaison for all of our partners. So she's been reaching out to people and trying to gather their information to make sure we can include everybody in that print product. So I know Lisa brought some cards, and she'd be more than happy to, meet with you all individually, answer any questions. She's always either an email or a phone call away. So the other product you see in front of you is our Explore Guide. So that's kind of our arts, entertainment, and outdoors focused publication. So the way we were kind of looking at opportunities when we go to update this is looking at experiences that are kind of what we're dubbing beyond the beach. We all know that, people come to Walton County for the beach first and foremost, but I think the beauty of what we have is there's so much more to explore, beyond the beach, whether it's, a rainy day or people are just kind of tired of being out in the sun. There's plenty of opportunities to get out, see new things, whether it's, something historical, whether it's the Chautauqua Hall, whether it's Morrison Springs. You all had mentioned scuba diving, and Chelsea, you had mentioned kind of working with Patty Blake. So Patty Blake's our PR and design specialist, but she's actually a certified diver. So she loves to dive and tell those stories. So I think that's kind of a natural fit for something we can look at moving forward. As you're well aware as well, Chelsea, Patty's also a certified drone pilot. So, she is available, to help you all with needs. If you see something that you can identify or need help with your individual business, please just reach out and, work through us. We'd be more than happy to see where she can help you all. But I think, the other thing, like I said, we want to really do is truly rely on you all. Once again, you all are the experts, and, this is your backyard. So as we kind of move forward and look at opportunities to tell those stories, always please reach out. We're open, we're willing to listen and, take any information you all have. So I won't take up too much of your time, but if you all have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer any questions.
So just to clarify, Matt, it'll be an inclusive guide for both North and South Walton. It'll
Correct.
be the entire county in one.
That's our
brochure.
plan moving forward.
Perfect.
So wait, it'll be one guide with everything included, right?
So
Is it going to be this and a separate one? It's going to be all the other areas that are not covered, Freeport, Definiak.
correct. So the Explorer Guide, that's where we're going to look at the outdoor opportunities that are available throughout the county. That's where we're going to tell those stories, in that print product there.
There's a huge opportunity to connect the trail systems from the south end, Freeport, toward Definiak, north to Paxton at some point, but I mean, like, to work on that, in conjunction here, because, I mean, it was kind of a phase, we got the first phase where we're kind of opening these areas up, second phase where we get more developed like this, so, but I think we can get the county conversations going with the people who would actually work on making the trail systems right now to get those conversations.
Yeah, and I think that's it. There's plenty of opportunities to explore, the different ways we look at things. We just have to kind of sit down and think of what that plan looks like and the best ways we can implement those all, moving forward.
I'm just pleased that they're going to be north and south one county and one brochure
Absolutely.
or
So
explore.
big because, I mean, there's just a lot of missed opportunities. And I mean, you know, it's just, everybody thinks, oh, there's only a handful of hotels up here. But if you look at, you know, the RV parks, and I mean, they collect too. Airbnbs that are starting to grow. I mean, it can be a lot bigger, faster if we.
Well, and so what we've done, if you kind of look at the way we do our publications, like I said, so the stay publication is purely accommodations. So that's all of the accommodations, and the Explore Guide is more arts, entertainment, and outdoor activities. So, you know, they're kind of a little bit more tailored to specific audiences. And so kind of why we did that is we learned that when people come into the visitor center, you know, they're looking for certain things. So we kind of wanted to break those out, you know, into separate publications to give people a little bit more personalized, you know, guide to what they're actually looking for.
I think a lot of people feel like they're priced out of the market, and you go to South Walton, you see that many people are priced out of the market, but there are other markets that we can capture. Not like we can offer something for everybody, but we can about do that in this county, which is so rare in a county to be able to do.
Well, and I think there's truth to that. From top to bottom, there truly is so many different experiences to be had, and I think there really is an experience for everyone.
Could open the trails up now through the Owl's Head, through Alaqua, through the Biophilia Centre, because they own a vast amount of land, and that would take people off 331 further up to where you are really
So,
easily.
280A and all that area down to what McKinnon Bridge and all that area, and a lot of people bike up
And
there
at me,
anyway.
there's so many cyclists and things come to me that have
Beautiful
gone down.
in between
But
that
if you could
stretch.
actually open roads up that kind of went from down on Bear Creek through Biophilia, through Alaqua, Laurie's putting a cat cafe in. Biophilia Centre's beautiful. Owl's Head's now opening up. You could quite easily keep people off the road and give people stuff to do.
Hey, Matt?
And I think, you know, kind of what we're seeing right now, you know, especially with COVID and you know, people just being extra safe and taking the precautions necessary with that, you know, people want to be outdoors. They want to be places where, you know, there's room to space out, and we certainly have plenty of that.
Got a river, you know, we've got springs, we've got lakes, we got all this that we're just not tapping into. So.
And one of the things to brag on, Matt, and the other part of the department, if you haven't seen it, is our birding guide that we did. We did a birding guide, and people kind of, some people kind of laughed at it. It is so popular. The state parks, state forests, we had to do a reprint of them. So, like you said, you know, I come from an ecotourism background, and so, you know, it's near and dear to my heart. It has grown exponentially in popularity over the past year and a half. And so every time we go to an outdoor adventure show, that's a huge, you know, component to it, you know, because we're reaching demographics from, you know, 50,000 a year and up, and they want to learn, you know, and they want to know what else can they do? Where can they camp at? You know, where can they go get a cabin at? Where can they go, you know, on the river? So the amount of vast paddling trails and hiking trails and biking trails that we have, we hope to do, I would love to see just a publication just on trail systems. And, you know, I would hope to see it grow to the point where we have 3 different ones. You have a biking guide, a hiking guide, and a paddling guide. And so as we grow into that, we'll work with the Water Management District and other partners to hopefully connect that back together, because there's a lot of people that, or a lot of organizations that are doing a great job individually, and if we can get them to come together, then we can really produce some things that I think can highlight some of the ecotourism, you know, throughout the entire county.
Jason's spot on.
I do have one question. I know that Miss Patty was extremely helpful to Main Street with regards to photography, and Miss Lisa, this may be a question for you to help chime in. Are these accommodations being asked for professional photography to include in these things, or is it just data? Okay. So if at some point, I mean, there's beautiful photos of homes and, you know, the watercolor in, will that be something that will be extended where the TDC would capture photos of the North Walton establishments? Okay, great. And then Kelly might cover this too, but the content on North Walton that's included in both of these, will it be mirrored on the website?
So That was real close. Sorry, we are looking at opportunities of where we can include that information
Okay.
into our existing website. Yes, ma'am.
I know we talked on our last meeting about a website for, what North Walton is, or combining the two or whatever, so I know that's a bigger conversation, but.
Definitely. There is. So I didn't bring one of those with me, but we have our Savor Guide, and that's purely dedicated to restaurants. So that's another one of those opportunities as we move forward and start incorporating things, more county-wide. That's kind of the vehicle we have for all of our restaurant partners.
After our last meeting, I went and surveyed a bunch of people and just asked them about the same kind of questions we were asking about. And a lot of them said before they got to a destination, they stopped at the restaurant. They usually base their vacation around a restaurant, and I was like, oh, that's a good idea. So they said they'll, like if they're, let's say they're Puniac and they're coming down, if there's some kind of cool restaurant or neat restaurant, they'll stop there, do an activity that everybody has to eat, breakfast, lunch, dinner. And they said, so what they'll do, and this, I heard this from a lot of, so it was pretty common, they're like, oh, we pick a restaurant, find an activity, and take it out. But you got to have a cool restaurant or somewhere to direct them to connect to.
So Lisa's already started reaching out to our accommodations partners. That's kind of where she started. But, with her role, she will also be starting to reach out to just, visitor-facing businesses in general to start gathering information and contacts. So, that's somewhere where we can use your guys' help to, share that with your friends and let them know if, somebody is calling them from our department looking for information. We promise it's Lisa. She's legit, and she's just trying to help us, start building that catalog of contacts so we can start building things out in the future. Because, we're basically starting from scratch on some of that. So, it's just basics of businesses, owners, contacts, and all that.
I think one thing is in expectations, you don't want to set somebody's expectations for this, there's this restaurant in Defuniak or Freeport or Paxton or wherever, I'm so excited, and then they get there and it doesn't meet their expectations. So telling that story of what the restaurant is, because, they're thinking Ed's is fine dining, they might be a little disappointed. They may not, but it's really good, but I'm just saying,
Well, so, and that's part, is the way we work our listings, especially for our partners, is they have complete control over that listing in terms of being able to tell their own story, add their own pictures. So, that's kind of where we partner with them to help make sure that we're painting that description or that picture in the most accurate light as we can. Because it's true, we don't want to give people a misrepresentation of what something is. So, we partner with the restaurant owners and operators to get that information, the pictures, and all that goes into doing the listings. You're welcome.
Any more questions?
Perfect. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Matt.
Come on down. We keep taking your thunder away, so you need
She's
to
like,
kind of,
I've got that update. I've got that update.
you may not have anything left to tell
Oh,
us.
believe me, I always have something to say. Promise. So first of all, I just wanted to touch on, yes, I'm Kelly Carter. I am the new director of marketing. I've worn many hats at the tourism department, so I feel like I'm very qualified to help you guys out with whatever needs to be done and still run the marketing department. We are a very small department. So when, Karen talks about there's 3 of them, there's 3 of us. So, and there's 4 of us, including me. So, we're actually, many of you know Haley Horkman. She's been with us for years, and she's been our database entry. She's got a really great opportunity to move on, so we're going to be losing her. So we might not be quite as fast as we were at doing some of the things, but we'll get it done. In addition to that, many of you know, you may or may not know Courtney Wimmert. She's the one that reached out to you, Reynolds, about all the mural stuff, and that's who I put you in touch with. She is our creative brand specialist and our actually creative brand manager, and she Carly is actually the driving force behind those brochures you see in your hand. From start to finish, she is the one that's designing those. That is all done in-house by one person. So with a little bit of help from the PR and design specialist. So keep in mind, that's all done in-house by one person. So we're a small show. And then in addition to that, I stole Carly from sales. Carly Morgan is with us. Many of you know her as Carly McMillan, but she got married and she's Carly Morgan now. And she has moved over from the sales department into the marketing department. She was a perfect fit for what we have going on. She's taken over many of the things that I was doing originally as far as like events and stuff, which is great for you all because when the North Walton events grants were first conceived, she was actually the person that took care of them. So she's got a great history with that and she really knows what's going on. And then in addition to that, since we last met, there were 11 events that applied. Of those 11 events, you all scored them all in. So that was about $57,000. We have reached out to all of those people to let them know how the program works. And, you know, starting October 1, we can have some funding available for you all. And, you know, one of the things that has been important to discuss with some of these smaller events is you may not have the $3,000 or the $6,000 to lay out. We've talked it over with Jason and, you know, although the program does say you have to put it out first, we can go that on a case-by-case basis if we want to talk about it and, you know, maybe figure out some things to help you all to put that money out because sometimes $3,000 or $6,000 for a very small event is a lot to put out. So there's some consideration there and those events are throughout the whole year and we're super excited to be a part of that. And moving forward, Carly will be the contact for that. So that's a lot of fun and I'm super excited to see that grow. And just so you guys are aware, that is not coming out of the tourist development tax for this taxing district. That is something that's historically been paid out of the south of Choctaw Bay taxing district, and we will continue to do that until someone else decides we can't. So it's not a problem. It's you know, Attorney Atkinson has said that there's nothing saying that we can't do that. It's a very small amount. It's, you know, $57,000. But of $57,000 of a $150,000 budget is a lot. $57,000 out of south of Choctaw Bay is not quite as much. So we will continue to fund that unless he tells me anything different. If he does, take it up with him. So a couple of the things that, you know, Chelsea, you asked was the stay guide. So this year we sold co-ops and those sort of things. We sell those traditionally in May. There is some opportunity for non-accommodation partners to participate in that. Those are one of the things that we are looking at, how we can work with north of Choctaw Bay and how if they want to be a part of that program, we can make that work. It's not super expensive, but it may be more than budget allows. So those are some of the things that, you know, I'm looking at, talking to Jason, how we can fund that, and then how we can fund that on through Zender, and if there is people that want to participate in that. So there can possibly be some opportunities there. We just haven't got them worked out yet because we didn't know what kind of budget we would have that would allow us to do that. So there could potentially be some opportunities for accommodations and non-accommodation partners to purchase into some of those programs that we have that, you know, but we need to make it affordable on the level that they are. It might not be the same level that's affordable south of the Bay. So those are some of the considerations that we have there. In addition to that, some of the things that, you know, we're working on in the marketing department obviously is everything that you guys see that's coming out from us. In May, we did a brand new branding shoot for south the Choctaw Bay. So we did that. We did a new brand and we have some new campaign photos that are coming out and some new things like that. As we move forward and we figure out what we're going to do with north of the Bay, there will be some opportunities to do that. And we had a local photographer take those and we worked on those in-house and had, you know, of course, our agency work on that as well. So those are some of the things that we're doing when it comes to, you know, actually putting out the brand and figuring out how that brand marries up with the brand that we already have in-house. In addition to that, we are finding places on the website that it makes sense to put, because if you're coming to visit southwalton.com, It's a little different if you're trying to figure out what all that means, but we want it to make sense and we want the information to be there. Events are already there, all events, not just the events that are sponsored through this program. If you have an event or you know of an event that's not part of the program, they can still be on the website. They just won't be as prominent as the ones that we're giving the money to. The ones that we give money to, they get the photos and a lot nicer things, just because we're putting the money behind that. In addition to that, please keep in mind that we're very careful with where we are in the COVID situation. And we want to make sure that, we're being empathetic, sympathetic, and that we're also not inviting people just to come all the time. We want to make sure that that message is right. So last year we didn't do a lot of events marketing because we didn't feel that it was the right time, right place to do that. We're looking at it on an day-by-day basis, to be quite honest, about how we need to move forward with, the state of where we are. And do people feel safe? Do people not feel safe? Just so you know, the COVID pages had been going down with the spike in COVID. Now people are going back to those pages and making sure, they want to feel safe when they come here, and we're doing everything we can to make that happen. So when we're talking about putting out messaging or we're putting money behind things, we want to think about those kind of things as well. One of the things that Jason mentioned earlier are some of the shows that we do. A lot of people say, all the shows we do are super expensive. They're not. One of the ones that he's actually talking about is a travel and adventure show. Those are some of the things that we've brought over from the sales department as far as leisure shows, and we will continue to go to those things like travel and adventure. Those people are of the mindset of travel, so we want to go out to them and show them that we're a destination for them. Some of the other ones that we talked about, sounds really weird, canoeacopia, paddling, those kind of things. So those aren't always, targeted to the higher household income. They're kind of like anybody who's interested in traveling. We have some of the other shows, and not this weekend, but next weekend, we have partnered with iHeartMedia, and we are doing a show, or we're doing an event in Birmingham at the zoo. Matt Moore from Fish Out of Water, Watercolor, is going with us, and he's putting on some food for them, and we're just reminding them we're still here, and when they're ready to travel, please come down and enjoy our destination. So that's kind of been our message moving forward, is when you're ready to travel, we're here, and this is how you can do it safely. So those are the things that we're doing in the marketing department, and questions, let me know.
I think we're good. We asked the other guys all the questions.
I was like, I've got it. I did want to say thank you to everyone that participated in the events program. I know that's a lot of work. We're always trying to figure out a way to make it a little bit easier. I haven't figured out how to make it easier in 12 years, so I don't know that I'm going to have it by next year either. But I do appreciate the time and the effort that it takes to put that together. And just so you know, it takes 5 times as much on my end to put it together too. I'm kind of happy to pass it off to Carly, not going to lie. So, but yeah, thank you for all of that. And just know that it does take a little while to get all that together, but it was all approved by not only the council, but moved forward to the BCC. So I appreciate everyone's time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Cutshaw, who's next? Oh, my goodness.
Righty,
Twice
that's
in one-
right.
Twice in one meeting.
I know. Trying to be respectful of everyone's time. We're real close to being at an hour. So I'd say we're doing really good. Maybe I can wrap this up in 3 minutes very quickly. As you can tell, we've got an amazing team. They're all gainfully employed. Don't try to take them. I'll fight for them with my good arm. And so hopefully, yes, you missed that earlier.
Oh,
Yeah, getting old. But real quick, Cindy Self, who's over here diligently getting carpal tunnel, is she is our operations manager, and she's working with me, and we're looking at a lot of grant opportunities for us. So coming from the Park Service side, we relied heavy on grants. I think ecotourism, in the new taxing district and the opportunities up there might be some spots for us to be able to kind of tap into that resource. So always a good thing. So it's something that's on our radar. So if you guys see anything, please send it my way. And I'll be happy to try to see how we might be able to work that in. Number 2, strategic planning. Well, let me talk about like visitation really holistically in general this year. It's been really, our visitation's been high, but what's really driven that up a lot has been the average daily rate. there's been a huge demand in travel. If you're a beach or a mountain destination, people are going there in droves because they want to get away, they want to go. So, so we've seen that every day, all day. But we've also seen an increase in, residency. From 2016 till now, we've grown at almost 6,000 people per year on average. So you're looking from 16 till now, 50,000 extra people in Walton County. So it's a lot of people wanting to go to the same beach access at the same time as everybody else. So remember, those are things that we're looking at, but we're having a stellar year, and right now, forecasting, looking statewide, we're definitely going to be in the top 10, possibly in the top 5. So that's pretty impressive for a county with less than 100,000 people there. So, when you start running with folks like Orlando and other places, it's really interesting, but it's really a lot to do with that ADR, that drives that. So it has been a busy year, knowing that next year there may be more opportunities, maybe more opportunities for people to be able to travel, as if restrictions get lifted, more opportunities to fly, more capabilities of adaptability to be able to have safety measures so people can fly or can travel to the Bahamas. We may see a little decline next year, compared to this year. So it's like one of those, things that everybody's seeing it on the coast. Everybody's got numbers up and realize that when it comes up, it's also going to come down. So we're just preparing for that and looking into the future and watching it closely. Next year, or I say next year, but October, I'll be drafting up a RFP to go out for strategic planning. So we did our last strategic plan, and it covered 2019 through 2021. And so this year, it'll encompass, and I included in the budget to encompass the entire Walton County, so both taxing districts, or the whole district, but both of the 2 different regions, new and old, be included in it. So that's where this committee is going to play a key role in that strategic planning. It's always good, so we'll go through that and start that process. I'll put the RFP out in October, get that back, and go through the vetting process, and then start working. As we have meetings, that'll definitely be a big focal point of this committee. On the meeting will be the strategic plan. And then once we finish that, we'll implement that for the next 2 years and go forward with some objectives and build a better plan holistically. So that's exciting. We got that coming up next year. And then one of the things that we do along with grants and other things is our Perfect Guide. So next year it's going to be open up throughout the entire taxing district. So the Perfect Guide, lots of different categories. If you don't know, you can go on our website, look at the Perfect Guide, the Perfect section, and you'll see all the different categories. We have how many this year? 30 different categories, everything from places to eat, places to visit, and things to do. So people can go online and vote on that. So that'll be expanded next year into the entire county. So that's exciting. Oh, yeah, as well. Oh, that was this year, though. No, that's next year as well, right? That's right. Artist of the Year is open now, and it's throughout the entire county as well now. So that's exciting. So, some local artists. Definitely, we're open for nominations now, too, as well. Yep, so that's exciting. So, again, goes along with our Mural Program, and, art is a huge thing here. A lot of people enjoy it. Restaurants, number 2 reason why people come to visit this area. So that's an important thing, too. Ed's fantastic. Love the slaw. Number 4, next meeting. I had to put that in there, a little plug for it's hard to find good cold slaw. The next meeting that we had scheduled for this group is on the 7th, so only a couple of weeks away. One of the main reasons, and I spoke to Robert about it, was just with our committee being so new and you guys being so willing and amazing folks, and I'm just saying that, that we wanted to make sure that we kept moving forward with the trajectory. Now, that being said, that is only a couple of weeks away. Our next meeting would be in November. During the November meeting, we'll have all our numbers in for the year, which would be great because we'll be able to really sit down and get a little bit more in depth and, initiatives that we'll be pushing forward. So we can make a decision now on whether to postpone that meeting that happens on the 7th and just move it to the November meeting, or we can try to go ahead and have the one on the 7th and then as well.
What are your goals going to be for the September 7th meeting?
It will be just kind of a recap of where we've went from here. We'll probably have more information about the Mural Program, but other than that, that's about it with such a short window, because we won't have all our final numbers in for the end of the year yet. November will be perfect for that because we'll have all of October's or all of September's bed tax collection in at that point, so we can really look at the trajectory of the budget at that time. I can email once the plan comes out for the Mural Program. I'll email that out to everybody. You guys can look at it, see what you think. see if you got any input, see if you got any more connectivity with any possible spots and locations. And then, so if you guys would rather do that, more of a communicative, and I'm more than willing to meet, call, talk, come meet with you during that time period between now and November. And
What
then we can,
time was it set for, the 7th? I don't know if everybody feels like they could, it would work, I mean, it worked for me, but one thing I wanted to say real quick, if it's a good time, or I could do it after.
go ahead. No, you're fine.
Is there so many things, like there's the Restore Master Plan we've been trying to get done for many years. There's other things in the county. There's all these little grants people are working on. And some of them are related to tourism or could be related to tourism. If we could somehow corral these things so we're all pushing the ship the same way, it would certainly be helpful, I think, to what our mission is. And I don't know if there's maybe keeping that meeting on the books just to try to go over that and the murals would be helpful. It might help keep people honest, for lack of a better word, because I don't know. I'd love to see all of us that know of these things.
Yeah.
Let's talk about them, because I do think there's a lot of things that are important that nobody knows about, and how can you work on some of these things if
No, I agree with you. It's similar to like the grant structure. Like you said, you got Restore Act funding, you've got economic development, which in a lot of destinations is a key component, of trajectory and growth, with that being a connector. So I mean, if we wanted to make the next meeting more of a focal point on like, what organization, what groups, what initiatives are we thinking of that we might want to communicate and reach out to, and then make that in the Mural Program kind of like the focus of it, I'm good with it. It's up to you guys.
could we workshop it almost, where we each take a little roll here of something and go out and try to solicit it for the November meeting or something?
Absolutely, whatever direction anybody
Awesome.
wants to take. I wanted to be cognizant of meeting fatigue, because I don't like a lot of meetings, but
Believe me,
I also-
I'm meetinged out.
But also, when I spoke to Jason, I think that if we
Special
let
meeting.
those get too far apart, then people lose interest in the meeting, because if they're like me, they don't do anything with it till the day before or the hour before.
Which I like the September 7th meeting, because I haven't been able to come to the last couple of meetings because I already had like trips planned. But I mean, like, if nobody else wants to meet, then I'm fine to push it to November. But I think we could talk about the grant stuff again. All of us could try to solicit the information, regroup.
I don't know about that I can probably help you with, and
So you think on September the 7th, we could focus on the grants and the mural program?
Absolutely.
We'd have enough time to do that? And,
Yes.
And that'll also give us some time to be thinking about possible contacts for additional places.
Yeah, and that would be really good, especially for the grant or the mural program too, to be able to revisit that. So, that's something we'd love to get started and do it unilaterally. So I'd love to start a program in Defuniak and then one on the south end at the same time, or one in Paxton. So trying to get all those to come together, the sooner the better. So yeah.
Well,
Good.
just say, like, we have somebody in South Walton that could go to some people that, like, this looks like a good spot for it. Somebody like Chelsea in Defuniak, somebody in Freeport, maybe Kate, I don't know.
how many
who.
spots how many do you envisage? How many do you think we're going to do, so you know that we're going to do 3 at the beach, 2 in
Coming up
Defuniak,
with
2
this
Yes.
criteria,
I
so
can-
we
I
can
can
at least
find
start
2, you can
approaching people.
find
You may
2,
know
and-
some people, you may know some people. I mean, like, it's
Right.
just,
how,
all that
ma-
kind of
how
stuff.
many do we want to do?
We've got, right now, this is a draft. But pretty detailed. The only reason why I'm not like sending it out to everybody yet is it's not finalized. So once we finalize it, it'll have all that information in it, kind of our expectations, volume, what we're looking at. But I would love to see, something happening in really every region of the county, especially main thoroughfares, like we had talked about,
Do
331
you
and
think,
85.
is there going to be a chance that's going to be finalized before September 7th?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just for insight, we're meeting tomorrow with CAA to go over some of that,
Okay.
which is kind of why we're waiting to have a finalized version. We were supposed to meet with them prior, but
Yeah.
we do have to follow.
Okay, so then there's a good chance we'll have that draft, or we'll have that plan prior to the September 7th meeting.
Yes.
Okay, well, that'd probably work out real good, and we'll have time,
That'd be very
yeah,
helpful.
we'll have time to review that, and any information we want to add in, we can do it at that time.
Great. So we'll plan on having the September 7th meeting.
September 7th here, 9 o'clock.
Is this our usual meeting place now?
I think this is
Yeah, I
going to
think
be
so.
it.
No.
Plant a
kinda-
flag, plant a flag for Reynolds. This is the usual place.
My
It'll be-
tardiness.
and I will
I
call
rang
you,
up, that's the only
Reynolds, I
reason
will
I
call
found the
you
right
if it
place.
changes.
No,
Yes.
thank you. I appreciate
Sorry.
it. This is a great meeting spot, by the way. I just never known about it.
Well, it's kind of hidden though. It is.
Can I just ask a question? I just want to move forward. We kept 9 o'clock because guys kind of thought so you guys we can 3 o'clock is better for you when I do the schedule. Or
Either way is fine, but 9 is pretty nice because you can get it done.
Yeah, okay.
If it's at 9, it's least likely to get hijacked by something that,
Something comes
Right.
up.
Yes, the day is just really beginning.
Yeah.
Yes, got it. Yes.
3 o'clock, you're like 17.
Uh-huh.
Do that.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Awesome. Anything else? Anything for you?
Is that it?
That's
Any
it,
more
sir.
questions for Jason? No? Hearing none, we're going to move on to other public comments. This is the time on the agenda in which anybody from the public can come up and comment about anything they want to talk about. And that you get to have to hang in there for 3 minutes. This is the fun time at the BCC meeting because anybody can come up and talk about anything. Hearing none, there are no public comments, so do I have a motion to adjourn?
so moved.